Saxon Algebra 1, Lesson 100. Dun, 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 dun. Greetings, students. Today is a very important day. We have accomplished, with this lesson, 100 lessons of math. That is a huge amount of math. That is a major accomplishment. That is, I'm just going to say it, you guys, that is way more than kids in traditional classes are doing. It's very difficult to keep this pace going all year long, and you have killed it. So here's what I want you to do. After we finish this video, I want you to go talk to your mom and tell her that if I was with you, which it's been 2 years now, that, well, for Caleb, Jackson, this is our first year, but when I'm with my students on the 100th day, what I will do is bring in a, like a Ziploc bag or a dish of candy for each student, either M&Ms, Skittles, or Reese's, something like that, a small candy. And I will, usually I'll have you do it because I don't want to put my hands all over your candy, but we will count out 100 pieces and you will get to savor the accomplishment of this incredible mathematical feat by feasting your eyes on exactly how many 100 looks like when you have it in a bowl in front of you. And then that is your reward for this incredible accomplishment, is to actually eat those candies. That's why I would ask you ahead of time, which is your favorite. So what I want you to do after you finish this video, I'll remind you, go find your mom. She's probably in the kitchen, and ask her to please purchase for you, since I can't do it, please ask her to buy you, or find something in the kitchen for you to eat, 100 of something. I don't know. Chocolate chips, maybe. We usually have a lot of those. 100 craisins. I mean, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Find something good, right? If you want to hold out and ask her to get it at the grocery store, please tell her that that would be her COVID gift to me, is to help you with this celebration. And, you know, try to negotiate up. You know, I've heard moms try to give their kids like 100 baby carrots. I mean, okay, but that's not quite the same thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So try to get something out of it that you would really enjoy eating 100 of. And then after this lesson, when you start your homework, hopefully you will have a bowl full of something delicious to celebrate with. Okay, we can also celebrate with the content of this lesson because it is a review, but it's very important because you know what? This is one of those things. As we get more and more and more advanced in math, sometimes we forget the basics. And I don't mean like 2 plus 2, but like how to do long division gets sketchy. How to do big fat multiplication problems. Sometimes we get so drifted off from fractions we forget. And this is a great example of this. We're going to start by remembering that there's this thing called place value. Oh my gosh, you've been talking about this, I'm sure, forever, long before I came on the scene. And back in the day, you started by learning there's a thing called a ones place. Copy all this, please. And we learned that you can keep adding places to the left, and all you have to do is add a 0 to the value of that place, right? 1, 10, 100, 1,000, blah, blah, blah. There's no zeros, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's the secret to creating these places, is you just keep jamming another 0 on, right? And you can keep going. And then we do this thing where what we usually do is we put commas in, don't we? For every 3 place value spots, we put in commas. And then on the right side of the ones place, sometimes people call it a units place, either way, whatever you like, there's a decimal, right? And then we also learned that you can add place value this way, and what happens is that it's the denominator that changes. We create fractions, right? Now, this little roadmap of place value is important when we're rounding, because we very often are told to round to a certain place, okay? So what I want to do is show you, not only did we create this, and you wrote in your numbers very nicely, but here in the book, page 422, there is a even bigger map of the place value units. And sometimes You just want to refer back to this to make sure, usually it's on the decimal side, to be honest, you guys, to make sure that you're doing this the right way. One thing that gets messed up is that people sometimes think, well, here's 1, and then there's the decimal. So is there like another ones place here before we start going 10? No, it's not completely symmetrical. It goes tens place, ones place, decimal, 1/10. So these 4 sort of make a unit. That's how my brain sees them. And then we keep expanding the pattern that way. We don't put commas in decimals, so there's no commas added over in between these places. But they march off to infinity in either direction, right? Buzz Lightyear is all about it. Okay, so place value is important when we're rounding because we're told which place to round to. So let's look at the first example. And it gives us, John gives us a big, fat, stinking number. Whoops. Okay, copy that number. Give yourself a little breathing room between the digits, and I'm going to double check and make sure it's right. Yeah, that's a 6. Okay, it says to round this number to the nearest 10,000. Okay. So first we have to figure out what place is that. Now, everybody wants to say, oh, that's down here. It's the 10,000 place. No, these guys, they have a TH suffix attached to them. So this place is the 10,000th place. This is the 1/1000th place. This is the 100th place. This is the 1/10th place. We'd have that TH if it was down here in decimal land. These numbers have no TH up here on this side, okay? So when we see 10,000, we know we mean up here, not over here. Okay, so that's clue number 1. Now, when we figure out, once we figure out which side of the decimal we're on, we laser in and we figure out which digit are we talking about. Which digit is in the 10,000s place? There's 10,000. So we see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left of the decimal. There's my decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Circle that digit. Please write down these rules. Number 1, we circle the digit in that place, okay? Now, here's what's happening. When we round, we're either gonna leave this number as 5 or we're gonna bump it up to 6, right? Those are our only 2 choices. We'll review them in a minute. But the other thing that's gonna happen is all this will go to zeros. Stop and say it again. This will either stay at 5, go up to 6, all of these go to 0. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the TV show Lost, but they have the clock in the, oh no, I'm drawing a blank on all their fancy names, in the hole in the ground. It's not a bunker. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever watched Lost. But they have a visual timer down there, and they have to hit a button every so ever many minutes, and then once they hit it, it all goes back to zeros, and then the process starts over again. That's what rounding is like. It hits, once we hit this magic rounding process, all of these reset to 0. So I want you to be very clear about that, all right? So the second thing we do is draw an arrow to the digit on the right. It's always the one that's on the right. There's my arrow. And you know what? I don't want you to skip these steps. I know this seems really easy and babyish, but you'd be surprised how many advanced math students forget about rounding and get it wrong because they just get sloppy and fast. So I don't want that to happen to you. And I mean, how long does it take to draw a little tiny arrow? It's not that bad, you guys. You can do it. Okay, now this is our indicator digit. I've been reading a lot about the Apollo space program lately, and NASA likes to make everything sound as complicated as possible. So that's what I'm doing here. This is called the indicator digit. Just kidding. I called it that before I read the books, but it reminds me of the astronauts. This tells us whether to stay the same or round up. If you have ever played blackjack or 21, you know it's a card game. If you don't know it, then sleep for a minute. But those are the only two choices in that game. You can't subtract cards. You either stay or go up, right? That is exactly how this works. Okay, so these are your two choices. You can stay the same or you can go up. How do you know which to do? If you're gonna stay the same, that's when the indicator digit is 0 through 4. You know to round up when the indicator digit is 5 through 9. Okay? So in this case, we see this is 8. All right? So we check our mental rule. 8 means round up. So our new number will be, now the numbers, the digits to the left of our rounded digit, all stay the same. 47,200,000, this is going up, 6, and now all of this goes to 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, and we don't even have to put the decimals on, okay? So the indicator digit, hang on, Grace. And all digits to the right go to 0. Grace is like right here, jamming her head under my arm as I try to write. Okay, that is a part of rounding, is that all that goes to 0. Sometimes students get confused and they make this 6, but then they copy all of that. No. It all goes to 0, and you can drop the decimals. You don't have to put zeros, like dot, 0, 0, 0. No, just take it right to there. That's all you have to do. If you're rounding to a place over here. Sometimes we round to a decimal place. That looks a little different. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, 47,260,000. That's our answer. Okay, pause while I let my dog out. Luckily, I'm right by her. Okay, lady, behave yourself out there. Go ahead. Okay, let's do another one. I'm having so much fun, aren't you? Oh, I hope that light is kind of shiny, isn't it? I hope it didn't blind you as I was talking to you before. My old ring light broke. Did I tell you that? I dropped it one too many times. Oopsie. Okay, let's do another one. How many are there? There are 5. What? John's working us hard. You better tell your mom to get your favorite candy. 100.2. Round 1, 0. Be careful with these because the decimals sometimes look like commas. Okay, I'm double checking while you write it down. To the nearest thousandth. There it is, the TH. That tells us we're in decimal land. So I could look at my chart, but I can also just figure it out from here. This one is 1 over 10, right? That's the first one. Then 1 over 100, and then 1 over 1,000 is going to be next. So that's the 2. I circle it. The fact that we're down here in the decimals doesn't change the process at all. It just changes which digit we use. Okay, so I circle this one. This is my digit that's either going to stay or go up. I draw an arrow to the indicator digit, which is immediately to the right. The indicator digit tells me whether to bump this up or to leave it the same. 0 through 4 means stay, and 5 through 9 means go up. Okay, when my brothers and I would play blackjack or 21 when we were little kids, we would always say, hit me, which I think is what everybody says, but I don't know. But I have said that before, and students are like, what are you talking about? So apparently, blackjack isn't as universally played as I thought it was. But this time we have 4, so that tells us that we need to stay. So this digit stays as 2. So my new answer, my rounded value, is 104.062. And all these decimals stay, but all of the decimals to the right drop away. And that's the right answer. Yay! Let's keep going. Okay, I do recommend that you copy the numbers onto your page because it's way easier to straighten out what's in one place rather than like trying to scribble on your, you end up writing in your book, which isn't the end of the world, but that's annoying. Just write it out. 0 point. Okay, that's right. And we're supposed to round to the nearest 100 millionth. Now, you don't necessarily have to write the word out the way I've been doing it, but you need to pay really close attention to whether there's a TH on there or not. Okay, 100 millionth. That means it's in decimal land, which is a good thing because we don't have any big numbers. So this time I'm not gonna write them, I'm just gonna look at them. Remember page 422 if you wanna see that chart in extra detail. We have a modified one. 1 over 10, 1 over 100, 1 over 1,000, 1 over 10,000, 1 over 100,000, 1 over a million, 1 over 10 million, 1 over 100 million. There it is. That's the digit. It's either gonna stay as 8 or go up to 9, and he is the indicator digit that will tell us what to do. 5 is in the go up group, so that means we're gonna round this to 9. There it is. Everything else drops away. Double checking. My ants were 41379. Yay! Okay, you have to be rock solid on identifying which digit matches with the word, and then you have to be rock solid on the rounding rules. Excuse me, I'm letting my dog in. Come, princess. Good girl. Okay, so number 1, which digit do I want to round? That's interpreting this word. Number 2, what are the rules for going or staying? And number 3, once I figure out what I want to do, how do I write the new answer perfectly? Example 100.4. I just feel like this is glary, you guys. It's like I'm flying too close to the sun. And the ball of fire is just singeing our eyeballs. Round. Okay, now this one's got a slight wrinkle on it, but here comes a big fat number. You write it, I'll double check it. Okay. This time, John tells us to round this beastly number to 5 decimal places. These are easier because we don't have to remember these crazy rules. All we know is he's saying, okay, he wants you to end up with 5 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just count them out. So I circle the 5th one, and then my indicator digit is the next one over, just like always. You just count them out instead of naming their values. Okay, 6 is our indicator digit. That tells us to go up. 6 becomes 7. 2.00317. There it is. It's rounded to 5 decimal places, just as John requested. We give him just what he wants, don't we? Yay. And now the last one for this lesson. Round. Okay, this is tricky. Oh, and it's got 4 parts to it. John, that is cheating. I think that is so unfair. No, that's wrong. 314 point. Look what he did. He gave us a number that has repeating decimals, which that's fine. But if we're trying to round to something down here, which we haven't looked at that part yet, but spoilers, we're going to, then we need to see what those digits are. We can't just do the shorthand, right? This is like a shorthand notation that means we're not going to keep writing it, but they keep repeating. Well, we have to write them out. So what we do is we're very careful. Remember, the only part that repeats is what's directly under the bar. So the 0 doesn't repeat. It's the 364, 364. I'm going to write it 3 times and pray that that's enough. Okay? So that gives us plenty to work from. Now let's see which decimal places he wants us to round to. In part A, there's 4 parts to this. I think that's so mean. He wants 5 decimal places. Okay, so we count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 is the next digit, so I'm going to start copying 314.0364, and then this 6 tells that 3 to go to 4. And there's our answer with 5 decimal places. Yes, that's right. Okay, now I don't want to keep circling and drawing arrow. I don't want to keep rewriting the numbers. So what I'm going to do is use different colored pens so that I can tell which circles go with which. B, 9 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there's the 9th decimal place. So we look to the indicator next to it. 4 means stay. So our 9-place decimal number version of this beast looks like that. Did we get 9 decimals? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's correct. Yay. Okay. Let's try another one. C. Oh, it bothers me that I didn't do this. There. I feel better now. C says we need to do it to the nearest hundredth. And again, look for that pesky TH. That's going to make the difference. We want to go to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so I have to remember the place value names now, right? 1 over 10, 1 over 100. This, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 1 over 10, 1 over 100. So this is the digit that we want to round. There's my indicator. These were the ones that were originally under that repeat bar. That doesn't change anything. We don't have to worry about that. 6 tells us to round up. So it would be 314.04, correct? And blue. For this one, we're supposed to round to the nearest 10. Not tenth, 10. So going to our original number, there's the decimal. So I start counting this way from the decimal, right? 1's place, 10's place. Okay, so this now is where we're rounding, and that's my indicator digit, okay? So indicator digit is always to the right of the digit that we're interested in rounding. And so this becomes 310 because 4 is a stay. In no cases do we ever round our circle digit down. That's not an option. It's stay or go up. Those are the only two ways we round. And remember, the indicator digit goes away. It does its job in telling us which way to round our rounding digit, but the indicator digit disappears afterwards. It's done its job and it burns itself up, I guess. Okay, that is our exercise in rounding. We will be doing rounding. And P.S. you guys, you're gonna round through all of your mathematical career because you're gonna get numbers that are fussier and fussier. I mean, by fussy, I mean they're gonna have lots of decimal places. And so rounding them is going to become part of every problem that we do. Laura, Vivian, and Jayla, they round sometimes to 4 decimal places, 5 decimal places. They have to kind of follow John's lead. So rounding becomes just like the last step of a problem. So we can be thankful that for us, it's the whole problem right now, but it will become kind of like breathing, you know, you'll just do it all the time in your problems. So what that means is that we are done with lesson 100. That means we are ready for a video check-in this week. Let's see. Caleb, I talk to you at random times. I don't think we actually have a standing appointment on Thursday, but you often call when you're with the Ricksmans, which is 1 o'clock. Sometimes you call me other times on Thursdays, which you don't really have an appointment, but whatever. Call me whenever, Caleb. Just check in with me sometime on Thursday or Friday afternoon, right? Between noon and 3. Jackson, I usually talk to you late in the window on Fridays, right? Usually it's when your sister calls and then you just jump on her phone. That's fine. But make sure that I talk to both of you. Well, I mean, you can only make sure I talk to you. Caleb can't make sure Jackson calls me, and Jackson can't make sure Caleb calls me. This video thing is not for chimps. You think this is easy? I have to talk to you like you're 2 people, but you're 1 people. It's weird. But right now, please go find 100 of something to reward yourself with because you are an algebra rock star. I'm done now. Goodbye.